What sort of risk area, pitfalls, if you want to go along the social capital, that one needs to be mindful of? Thank you.
Yes, well, I think you've given a very good example yourself. I think we have discovered that, companies, when they first started thinking about social media, they said, oh yes, we need a social media campaign, a social media office. And what we've discovered is some of these things can backfire, actually. So that if a company is just very aggressively tries to answer, let's say, a critical blog or something like that, sometimes they're just not believed because they say, yes, but they would say that anyway. And so it requires quite a complicated, multi-level strategy to win the confidence of a community. If you're polluting the environment, it's no good trying to have a social media campaign when you're criticized. Somehow that authentic voice needs to be heard. And so another example is companies that are defensive. So they're being attacked on social media, so they defend aggressively. Actually, you know what? I think what we've learned is that the best thing is to own up early, to get the bad news out quickly, to be honest about failure, and to be absolutely sincere about your own ruthless determination to sort out the root of the problem and to work with others. So I think that's part of the risk. I think we do need to be very careful. And I think the other risk is, which is difficult, we have to respond quickly when things start to go viral against the company. But at the same time, you need to respond in quality. And quite often, the person who's running your social media site, it can be quite junior inside the organization. And I think that's a challenge. Because the faster you go, the more likely it is a mistake will be made. But you cannot wait until tomorrow. In the past, the news story breaks, and the news media says a spokesperson could not be found for a comment. Well, in the past, you could last about 6 hours with that. Now it's about 6.5 minutes. So we have to find mechanisms to elevate things very, very quickly, if necessary, to the chairman's office, so that a particular social media response can be designed in a matter of minutes. Does that help? Thank you. Did you have another?
Yeah, I got. And another, because your response led to another sort of questions. That is in a crisis. How about in the stable environment between self-services and the need to be served by the customers? Like for example, you give banking services, call center. The idea was to bring about self-services to the market.
Self-service.
Yeah, self-serves.
Yeah.
But then people, they want to be sort of fit with emotion when they're being served. So what is your view on that, balancing between self-service again being served in this new modern era of social capital?
Thank you. I think that's a very, very important question. And I think the answer is that in an the more virtual our world becomes, the more human contact becomes very special. And I think there are ways that we can improve the self-service relationship. Let me give you an example. I am a member of the British Airways regular flying club because I fly with them a lot. I think they are quite clever. They have a very good website which makes it easy for me to use self-service. If I want a personal service, I pay a bit more, because if you book on the phone, they tell you you're going to pay a bit more. So that gives me a choice. But the self-service has become very personal. So when I log in, I am always sent a personal message which relates to my recent flying. Shall I give you a small example of what I thought was clever marketing? It wasn't shouting. It was kind of like social capital marketing. I got this email out of the blue from British Airways, and it said, "Dear Patrick, where do you go to?" Question mark. It says, "We're very puzzled because you keep disappearing off our radar screens. At British Airways, we're wondering how to serve you better. We keep flying you all over the world, but you never come home." I thought that was smart. All they're basically saying is, please stop booking singles. And then they gave me an incentive to do so. I think it was like double the air miles if I book return tickets in the next 6 months. But I just thought, I don't know about you, but I just thought, that's clever. I knew, in my heart, I knew a robot had written that letter, okay? But someone had thought about it. And actually, I thought they were marketing to me in a sensitive way. And also, they were making me think. Perhaps I am wasting money here. And anyway, what's wrong with coming back on British Airways? Does that help? So let's make it personal, whatever we do. Another example, call centers. When you call a call center, you know that most people here would be calling a call center from a mobile device, correct? The most important thing to record on the database, therefore, is not your home telephone number, but your mobile. And if we have your mobile number, and most people broadcast their mobile phone number as they make calls, yes? Most people don't block the ID of their phone. That means that most of the time you have a vital piece of information coming into your call center. It's probably the most important piece of information you will ever receive on the call. Before you pick up the phone, before your robot has answered, you know it's Patrick Dixon phoning British Airways. Okay? Now, what is more, actually, let's use the electricity company. Patrick Dixon phoning the electricity company. Now, the software should be able to tell from statistics the most likely reason for the call. For example, if they're clever, they can see that I have overpaid 1,400 euros. And that must be why I'm calling. Or if not, it's why they should be calling me. So they should put me straight through to the accounts department. He says, hello, is that Patrick Dixon? I'm so pleased you called because I can see we've got an outstanding problem. And in fact, we were about to contact you about it. I'm pleased to say, quick. I think we can sort it out, quick, almost as we speak. Clever. I called an IT, isn't it annoying when you get through to an IT call center about a very complex problem to do with your computer? It has taken you 6 months to get through because every time you get cut off. I once phoned a call center and they said, 5th time, each time I get cut off, in the middle of a 25-minute call. I keep calling back and they say, can I speak to Derek? No, he doesn't work here. What do you mean he doesn't work here? I spoke to him only 30 seconds ago. No. He works in Norway. You've got through to the French call center. I say, what? Yes, the calls are randomly allocated according to how busy the switchboards are. You'll just have to keep calling. What? Yes, just keep calling the number, press all the buttons, and when you finally get through, just ask one question. Are you in France or are you in Norway? Now, there's another company. When I phoned the call center once, as soon as I called back, do you know what? It was answered by the very same person. How is that? Because they see the number coming in. So that's my other answer. Let's make it personal. Let's use the technology to build social capital at zero cost, yeah? Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Dixon, I think we have time for just one last question before we proceed with the next item on the agenda. So, any other questions? Comments? Anything of that sort? I see a hand at the back.
At the back.
Thank you. I presume it is very sensible and easy to connect the social capital from a business to consumer environment or relationship. So I would just want to understand whether is there any difference or there could be the one-size-fits-all kinds of model if we are operating in a B2B environment or relationship, business to business.
Yes, a lot of what I talked about, of course, was business to consumer, but I think it is the same in business to business. Let me just say that business to business is what you're asking about, isn't it? Yes. So I talked about trust, reputation, it's who you know. You know, most business deals, the business deals are done between people, not between organizations. It's someone that you really trust. And the more important the contract is, the more important it is that you look into the eye of the person you're signing with. You think, do I trust this person and their team? Or are they going to leave tomorrow? And then what will I do? No. So I think it very much applies to business, actually. And actually, I think all good businesses really understand it. And they put a lot into client events, socializing. In some cultures, it's playing golf. In others, it's going to the theater. In others, it's just having the time to send in, how is your family? And how is your grandson doing? And are you enjoying the sailing at the moment? You know, your new boat that you got last year. It's just knowing those little things. And actually, I've got a poor memory. And I have hundreds, I have probably 9,000 contacts in my database. And if I meet someone, this is a secret, I shouldn't really be telling you this, okay? But if I meet someone and I learn something that I think is an important detail, I write it down in my contact. Just say, baby boy, Julian, born 6th of October. It reminds me next time, say, hey, how is he? He must be 2 years old now. And the person thinks, hey, he's got a good memory. Well, I did remember he had a baby, but I wouldn't have been able to remember. But actually, it's 6 years old. It's 6 years. It must be almost to the day. I know it's his birthday yesterday, but I'm not telling him that. So I think we can do these things. We can use the relationships, pick up the information, reflect it back, and be generally interested in people. And as we do that, you'll find that people are interested in you, and then trust is built, and business becomes a real pleasure, a delight when you're working with friends.